Hi and welcome to Art Television and another series of the wonderful stories that we have been bringing you about Sri Lankans who have been challenging the world and trailblazing their own track to inspire all of us here in this wonderful island. And today, it's a difficult way to try and explain, but Gamini Saparamdu has trailblazed a track that has made everybody stand up and look. He started very humbly, but he himself understands the requirement and the most important factor of being yourself. Gamini, I'm trying to get words sorted out here, but it has been, I'm trying. It's been a remarkable journey for you from where you were to where you are now. But it started very slow.
Yes, Shan. I come from a very village background, from Kalania, from a middle income family.
Okay.
But of course, I had my dreams from my childhood. Some of them were absolutely silly dreams. And but I pursued some of them. Today, when I look back, I don't see that I'm working. I'm playing with my hobbies because every function that Kent Group has got involved with, we have 9 companies, 800 people, and every function of Kent Group is something that I liked in my life.
But it wasn't always the case, though. It wasn't 800 people to start with. It came from very hard work and
I started with me and myself, just me and myself. First, employee number 1. I still am employee number 1 because I work for others. So, the people who believed in me, the people who understood me, started walking with me. They walked along with me. They walked parallelly. They never walked. I never allowed anyone to walk behind me. They walked with me. So today.
But you had a steely belief, though. There was a belief that Saparamdu encapsulates more than anybody else.
Yes.
That is your platform for almost everything in life.
Yes. Because I also believe out there are people who are much smarter than me, who are much clever than me. So for me to harness them, if I can talk on the same language that they talk,
okay.
It worked. It worked. And all what I did during this process of building Kent is selecting, employing clever and good people, empowered them and set them free.
Good Sri Lankans?
Yes.
Good islanders?
Very good. Very humble people. And actually they are my heroes. They are my heroes. Every individual in this organization, in our factories, in our production facilities, they are my heroes. Nothing makes me happier and greater than to see a person who works with me tells or does something smarter than I do. Nothing makes me happier than that. I am overjoyed when they do that because I believe in them. I give them an equal chance, and that is how I have arrived at this point in my life today where I made myself dispensable. I die tomorrow, this organization will never go through any difficulties like most of the places where the founder, chairman or somebody dies and people go into little difficulty. It never happens here because I build that level. You would probably be pleased to know 60% of our employees have put in more than 15 years work in this company. This company is 35 years old.
That's a wonderful statement about a corporation.
Yes. During the last 35 years, I build products, I build services, I build men and women.
So you create.
See, all what I did was, I made girls and boys into men. And in doing so, they made a simple thought, a simple idea into a great company. Into a great company.
So a simple task, well done.
It's one family. It's just one family. There is a belief in our company that all children of the employees are children of us. We own them. We look after them, we send them to school, we give them scholarship. Annually, their clothes, their
School
books, those who have done well, their scholarships, even those who are in the universities, health. On the 1st of July, on my birthday, we have a health camp where all employees, their spouses and children are examined by over 25 doctors, Western and native doctors. They're taken care of for the whole year. What more can a simple, humble man like me can have?
The wellness of the corporation, the wellness of the staff, it all comes under what you have as vision forward for the company. When Kent started, it was just you, like you said, me and myself, and then your belief and your vision and your dream. But now you are a diversified, hugely successful, vastly improved company that just boasts of Sri Lankan talent.
Having said that, I must also tell you, it was never a rosy road. Never a rosy road. I have had my ups and downs, my share of sadness.
I was going to say, I mean, you know, strength is the belief to carry on and not stop trying, and that's what you have
like
done.
you very correctly said, every time I fell, what mattered to me was not the fall, but with what wisdom I stood up to continue. And that's the same philosophy, same concept, same belief that I passed down to my people. They all know. We have had enormous struggles in this organization. We have been pushed against the wall.
That's right.
But we went through the wall. I remember way back in
So the wall didn't stop you. Most people
No,
think.
we don't see walls. We don't see walls. And actually we like when we have obstacles because we treat those obstacles as hidden teachers. We learn. We fight. I remember way back in 1989, my life's dream was to become a filmmaker. As I said, I come from this village, and during the school holidays, my relatives, cousins, they come to our house. We had a little oversized house in Kalania by the river. So my aunt...
Nice house.
Well, it's a village house, yes.
Okay.
But it has half a dozen of rooms, I suppose. So it's large, space, and so much. Today, one of our huge factories, the wooden packaging factory, is situated in that land. It's a large 5-acre land.
Okay.
So these people come here, and the children, we used to play around, and they spend the entire school holidays with us. As how it happens in all families, the day when the parents come to pick up the children, they will ask, "Oh, Puta, what do you want to become when you are big?" So I was also would have been like half this size,
Okay.
very shapely and half this size. So when it came to my turn, everybody wanted to become a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Traditional.
Oh, very, very traditional. And when it came to me, it just came naturally. I said, I want to become a commercial, or I want to become a photographer. My mother virtually died because she was a vice principal of 3 schools, education. My father, of course, very reasonable.
So very high up in the system.
Very, very reasonable. She used to, the village, they called her Loku Iskole Hamni. So my father was in the field of engineering, civil engineering, and he was an engineer. But his passion and hobby was to build houses, design houses, build houses for people, and to see that people enjoy those houses. So, I could handle anything with my father, but not with my mother. Oh, the most difficult, toughest female that I ever met in my life.
But she shaped your future.
Of course she did, but so very unfortunately. Uh, my mother died when I was barely 19 years. But then she have instilled certain values and great values in me. Uh, she always taught me that never mind what happens, tell the truth. And in many instances, I remember whenever I put a little circus at home and make a mess of it, my mother will come and where I come out with a long harangue of lies.
Colourful.
Oh, yeah. She will pick the size of the cane according to the punishment, and she say which one of the four you want, but you have an option. You tell the truth, but nothing but the truth. So I sometimes improve on the truth more than the truth, so that I will not get hammered. I mean, these are nice memories. So this particular day, I still remember when my mother thought that I told her almost like I want to become a criminal. So then she said, when all the people in, she said, my mother speaks in Sinhala. What is it that you want to become? So I said, okay.
She was very surprised.
Yeah. Because in her life at that time, she had seen photographers and filmmakers, especially photographers, who got drunk even before the couple leaves in weddings. I mean, so that's her perception about this person, about this, because she never saw somebody. And I wanted to change that when I was just barely 12 years. I thought one day I will change this and I will make this profession a recognized good profession. I didn't know how the hell to do that. But at the same time, I had the other pressures around, my peer pressures, friends, school, so I had to study. So I qualified myself in chemistry and I did some jobs. I worked for ICI and then, but I always had this dream of becoming this filmmaker.
So you never gave up on that?
I never gave up because that was my passion. And today, if somebody asks me who am I still say I'm a photographer.
Very straightforward.
I had fever. I remember 103 fever. And my wife, we were just married, she pleaded and said, don't go, you are sick. But I went behind the camera to do the shoot. This was shot by the sea.
With fever and 104 plus.
And all my life I have performed best under pressure. When I'm pushed against a wall, I don't know, all engines start working.
So and that's when we see the best Gamini Saparamdu comes out.
Yeah. That is why I love challenges. When I wake up in the morning, if everything is tickety-boo, I go back to sleep. Why should I keep up? To see what? Everything is fine. But when there are troubles, so much so, my wife says sometimes that when you don't have a headache, that itself is a headache to you.
On that point, on that fabulous note, we're on Trailblazers and Game Changers here on Art Television, talking with Gamini Saparamdu, whose unbelievable corporation, Kent, is now actually internationally rated. And here we are now in his head office, talking with him. We'll be back in a second to talk more. Welcome back to Art Television and Game Changers. We're talking with Mr. Gamini Saparamdu about his remarkable journey and how he functions efficiently under pressure and prefers to be under pressure rather than be comfortable. Gamini, you were just saying just before we went to the break about how you get up with a headache. And
yes, I was telling you. That was my litmus test way back in 1989.
Recently married?
Yeah. brand new.
Also Russia.
Brand new, yes, still the ring is there. So, everything that I earned like an ant, everything what I earned overseas, everything what I earned here, all what I could borrow, I put together and built a studios, which was the treat I wanted to give myself. It's
State of the art.
State of the art. 3 stories, the largest commercial filmmaking photography
No
studios.
expenses spared. Just went the whole hog.
Yeah, it's borrowed money. Borrowed money. Everything what I saved, everything what I could borrow went into that. And somebody whom I knew well, she came and told me once, she's a senior person, she said that, you know, when you do things like that, there can be evil eye. So why don't you hold incense? I said, the only evil eye that I can have towards company is me, because if I don't perform, it dies. Nobody else can have it because that's all myth. She said, no, at least now this place is new. Why don't you hold incense?
The
So,
superstitions.
yeah, so I told the boy who was there, okay, you hold incense, that's all right. But before we arrive to go behind the cameras, make sure all smoke is sent out, windows shut, blinds, and the temperature of the studios brought up to 22 degrees, because that's the temperature we work. Cameras work well, films work well, products work well. So one day, he called and said the studio is on fire. So my wife told me, this boy says the studio is on fire. So I had just got up after late night shoot. I remember coming home like 2 o'clock in the morning, and by 7:30, 8:30, I got to go behind the camera. So I slept and I was half asleep. So in my sleepiness, I told my wife, asking to throw some water. I thought something else.
Okay.
Then she came back and said, no, it's bigger than that. The boy is crying. I said, so I went on phone and I said, what happened? We had no mobile phones there. He said, the whole studio is on fire.
Goodness.
So I didn't ask anything. I got into the same trouser that I wore the previous day and the same shirt. That was the closest. And I got into some vehicle and I drove. When I passed 80 Club, I could hear Eric Fernando on air telling people not to take the Independence Avenue photography studio is on fire. I could see from a distance of about, you know, where the Cinnamon Garden police station, that point, where the Russian culture, I could see the tower, 3-story building, fire coming from windows,
And smoke bellowing out.
smoke, and I refused to believe that. When I came and parked the vehicle and got off, half a dozen of people said, no, you can't go. The fire engines were operating. He said, no, you can't go there. It's on fire. I said, my heart is there. I got to pick it up. I have to go in. So usually when we open the door, we step in and we step onto a very lush carpet. But here when I stepped into a puddle of water, I walked in, absolute darkness. Nothing but I could see the cameras and the lights. I mean, they are like Hasselblad 2000 cm cameras and lights that I worked with my team of photographers the previous night are like dead stalks standing, burnt on their own stands. Tripods.
Charred.
All charred. Charred. All charred. And from all over, I only got the burning smell, the rubber.
This is one of the hardest to bear.
Hardest. Actually, I had 3 options.
So at that point, you had to make a decision.
I had to make a decision because I was in debt
Apart from
to
everything
banks
else.
above my nose. So everything that I breathed at that time was responsibilities. And my crew came immediately and said, my God, what happened? So of course some well-wishers, staff, some people, we had only 30 people at that time, staff, friends, surrounding, all these people came and said, my God, what happened? I said, I don't know. Then this boy said, exactly, oh, he was hospitalized by then. Then I was telling you that my options were 1, jump into the same fire and say goodbye. 2, pack up and go somewhere.
Start afresh somewhere
3,
else.
give up. And I never considered them as options. I had only one option that I decided. Stay back and fight. Stay back and fight. Imagine a company that had the finest equipment. Imagine the company that had the state-of-the-art photographic equipment reduced to nothing under half an hour. Reduced to nothing under half an hour. I still remember my friend, he's actually Vasanta Guruge, he was the engineer, technical engineer, who was attending to our equipment. And he came and said, Gamini, there are about 2 or 3 lights and about 2 cameras that are under repairs.
So that was the start again.
I said, what? He said, yes. Then he called his secretary. She confirmed that there were 3 lights and 2 cameras that's been just serviced and repaired. I said, God, bring it up. Here we are, people had like about 8 cameras, enough light power to light up entire Colombo city, reduced to 3 lights, 2 cameras. And they're worn off, they're old. I
But that didn't,
decided
that
to
didn't
rebuild.
You didn't deter you at all, you just took the next step.
No, actually, I saw them better than the new at that time because that's all what I had. With those, we rebuilt this place. And some friends and my secretary at that time, she said, you're so calm. You're so calm.
So
And
where does that calm come from?
I don't know. I can't remember living that little couple of hours. But he said, I have been uttering that, don't worry, I'll rebuild it. I can't remember telling that. I can't remember telling that, but my friends and well-wishers and my staff who was there, he said that you were muttering something and you said, don't worry, I'll rebuild it. I can't remember telling that. So the story is, I rebuilt with my people. We rebuilt with worn-off tools. When the technology was all over around us, we went back to the basics. As some of these people behind camera would know, when you want to diffuse a lens for a special effect, you do a diffusing filter and you monitor the filter's movements so you know that's the technology. But also, if you don't have the diffusing filter,
You managed somehow.
you take oil from the back of your ear, apply on the lens, looking through the viewfinder,
And make it look like
and you make it look like that.
it's high technology.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
So it's a Gamini technology.
It worked. It worked. That's what I did. Only I know that I did, but to the others, it's perfect. So I was actually telling my guys were laughing. I could still remember there was a makeup artist on a specific shoot. This makeup artist was there, and she was working with us, and I had to do this because there was this bouquet of flowers and the product is moving in, and I had to send the whole image into kind of diffuse state. So I called my assistant and said, diffuser 3. That's the order I give, diffuser 3. So he'll have to fix the diffuser 3 onto the camera, but diffuser 3 didn't come. So I looked at Sumedha and said, diffuser 3, he said, burnt.
Non-existent.
No.
So diffuser 4.
I took oil from here, put that. Then I heard somebody clearing the nose. It was the makeup artist who was with us very closely. She was crying.
So you reacted.
Now, why do I tell you all these things? Because whoever listens, if there is one individual, one person who listens to this program and decides to make that change and to stand against odds, then I consider this interview as a well spent time.
Absolutely.
So these are the obstacles. These are the tests, these are the parameters that as an organization, photographics went through. It was the photographic studios. Then came Kent. Kent was in my mind for so many years. But
So from adversity, from dire straits, from a seemingly dark place, came this new vision of what you always wanted.
it's because probably that I said before also, I like challenges in any form. Difficult is the best because that molds us, that gives us so much of courage and strength to fight against. I could share instances like even making Kent. We have had enormous issues, enormous trouble, state, uh, people copying our designs, design pirates. Then
Copyright issues.
copyright issues. We had many copyright issues. But then at one stage I thought somebody copying me is the highest respect that person can give me because I'm good. Somebody copies me because I'm better than him.
It's another way of looking at it.
Yeah. So I said, okay, start producing. Let people copy. And the challenge and copying, whatever we did, kept us moving. We were on toes because we got to be not one layer, 5 layers ahead of others.
Bigger, better, faster.
So when they reach us by copying us, right, we have gone streaks ahead of them. Then at some point of time they thought, okay, why copy? We'll also invent. We'll also do that. That is where, if there is one lesson with greatest difficulty, if I have told my people, is to change. Oh, they don't want to change. That's one of the things. They are very comfortable in this zone. Oh, we are doing business. We are good. Our numbers are right. Everybody is good. So why change? But something I had to instill in everybody is that change. If you don't change, you perish. If you don't innovate, you perish. If you don't have the courage and the wisdom to think differently, you perish. So now, that's the story that drives us.
Brilliant. On that point, we are going to take another break. This is talking with Gamini Saparamdu, and you just heard from him about coming out of the most difficult situation and then inventing and creating what has now become a household name here in Sri Lanka. On Game Changers, another break. Welcome back to Game Changers on Art Television, and we're talking with Mr. Gamini Saparamdu about his remarkable journey through life, through the hardest of times, and from the fire emerges another story. This is all about strength, courage, wisdom, and the ability not to give up or give in. Gamini, it has been a huge, long story, and the challenge, like you said, it didn't get any quieter, it got bigger and better, but it also tested you to the hilt. And you learned.
Yes. The learning process, add value to yourself, knowledge is important as much as you're discovering who you are. I, together with my team of men and women, we subject ourselves to continuous SWOT analysis. We want to find out who we are, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are the threats, and what strengths do we have to fight them.
It's cutting edge.
Besides, my strength, physical strength, 25 years prior to today was not as bad as today. I was more stronger. But today, we are all worn off. Same way the company's health check. Our company is subjected to continuous health check.
Wellness.
Are we strong?
How strong
Are
are
we
you?
strong enough? Against the odds? Do you have the courage to face challenges? So we put ourselves into this, and my staff is continuously, because I believe this company is run on these 6 commandments. I tell them often. Where were we yesterday? That is like, who were we in the past? Where are we today? Where do we want to be tomorrow? Are our heads turned towards the direction that we want to be tomorrow? How do we get to this place that we wanted to be in future, and when? So this is continuously instilled in the minds of people here. And at the same time, we make enormous effort to make people think differently, change, discover their strengths and weaknesses. I have this story that I can quickly share with you. There had been a man walking down a path. Then a sculptor was busy with a huge rock. And after a few weeks, this passerby, he saw there was no rock. Instead, there was a huge statue. So he go up to the sculptor and ask, Mr. Sculptor, what have you done with this huge rock? You have produced a beautiful statue out of it. The sculptor says, my friend, I did not make it. The statue was always inside this rock. All what I did was removing the obstacles that was covering it. So the story that I share here is that we all have this statue inside us. It's up to us to discover it. It's up to us to get rid of ego, get rid of those other elements that weakens us, get rid of others' opinion about yourself, get rid of various other things that can make you what you are not. Now, that's something that I share with my staff all. Discover yourself. Discover yourself, and then put yourself into continuous test. Put the company into continuous test. Like I said, check what our wills. Are we doing the right thing? Are we on the right track? Are we at the right speed? Are we at the speed that we could maintain, sustain 25 years hence? I never plan this company for tomorrow. I plan it for 25 years hence.
So a willingness to change.
They will. I remember sharing this thought with somebody, and this is what somebody told me many years ago, that if you look at this mammoth elephant, its legs are tied with 2 chains. Are you telling me that the strength of the elephant, that he can't break that chain? He can. But his mindset is put into his head from his babyhood.
Not to.
Not to. Because from his babyhood there's a smaller chain, and it's taught, instilled in his life, in his head, don't. You can't break it. So you live with it. So it grows up with that thinking that I can't break it. Now that's what I wanted to break. That's the change that I wanted to do. That is the negative thinking that I want to crush. There is nothing that we can't change.
And with Kent, you've done that.
Well,
And
if
continue
you
to
say
do
so,
that.
I'm very humbled. Yes, but not enough.
You believe there's need for
There
more.
is nothing, never enough for me. It's never enough for me. It is not to earn money.
But are you a hard task master?
Yes, I am.
You drive yourself as much as you drive everybody else.
Not only me, I drive others also. Sometimes I drive them crazy. I drive them crazy. Because I tell them that if you don't make the best of you, your life is waste. Life is waste.
So that's your lesson, because from one person starting the corporation to 900 people plus now working, families involved. It is a beautiful story.
Like you said that, I take it as a compliment, but I must also tell you that I have been wondering from my childhood. I want to know why butterflies come. Where do they go in the night? I have to think and try to understand, which I cannot still understand, how on earth this thin air can direct such a beautiful image on my television screen. Why is that? This organization, outside some other organization, how and why are they doing so well? What is their spirit? What is their thinking? Why is this such a wonderful family of business is going down the drain? Why? So continuously I keep my ear to the ground. I learn from everybody. I hear from everybody. I learn from my staff. I learn from the man I meet on the street. I learn from the man whom I meet at the airport. I learn. So I'm like a sponge always. I squeeze and I take the best and squeeze the rest off. And that spirit I bring back to office, tell everybody that's the direction.
But that is wisdom though, to learn and keep learning.
Yeah.
Continue to learn.
Yes.
And to grow from that learning. That's what you've been doing.
Yes.
And from the 1 to the 900, but happy.
Absolutely happy.
A secret to that?
I'm a very happy man.
By nature?
Oh, yes. And I'm funny also. Very funny.
Humor?
Oh.
Laugh a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Important to everything you do in life.
Sometimes I laugh to the extent the other fellow gets annoyed, but I can't help it because I like it.
For Kent and the diversification and the process and Gamini Saparamdu, next step?
Change, innovate, think differently, develop courage and strength to do things differently, and also to take this company to a place where there is no path and leave a trail for many others to follow. That is the motto of what I have done.
So you're no closer to retiring or thinking about resting and putting your feet up, or still
why retire when I don't work? I don't work, I play. I go to the factories, sit with them.
So there's pleasure and pain.
Everywhere, all the time. When you retire after work, when I don't work, how do I retire? I don't have to retire because I don't work, I play. I play with all these things. I play, I design. I will take a piece of paper and I design. But there are two things that I know in life that I cannot achieve for sure, is that I cannot sing and I cannot run. Other than that, everything I'll attempt.
You will at some stage want to sing as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, but then to the displeasure of a lot of people.
But it's always been a dream of yours to be the way you are, and you have achieved that.
Yeah.
Through thick and thin, through fire and water, you have managed to get through. Does that dream replenish itself on a daily basis?
Yes, it does. It does. Now, if you take the cross-section of the business that we do, starting from filming and photography, then I remember when I first started photography, come back to Sri Lanka, when I started photography first, they had 35mm. And when I wanted to introduce 6 by 7 centimeter format, people thought I was mad. Like, who the hell wants this? Why should we go in for 6 by 7 format when 35mm is paying us enough? Because I wanted that change. I wanted that change. And that was the time that they used to make images and then send them to Singapore for enhancing. I said, no. You do the image properly here, so then enhancement can be done here. So we keep the money here. We don't have to send money elsewhere. Why do you have to make heroes outside? We make heroes here. Then when we came into picture framing, Kent, we are not, or I am not doing anything different from anybody else. I'm just a simple, ordinary man.
So rocket science?
Nothing. It's just what we do is we do things differently. We don't do different things. When we came in for picture framing, I thought, okay, I should not frame a picture for my family to see. I should frame it for third generation to see. Then it has to be preserved. All odds has to be looked into. The picture should be remain perfectly, and the frame should not perish. So it developed well. So people looked at it; they're willing to pay that premium because they give the premium good. Then we went into manufacturing boxes, packaging. There was a demand. People were producing goods, but they didn't have a good packaging for it. So I thought, okay, there is a requirement for packaging.
For quality.
So we started packaging. Today, the finest tea companies and some of the finest companies that produce high-end products, we produce the packaging for them, high-end wooden packaging for value addition of their goods. If you take the trophies division, why I went in for trophies? I have told my staff that, remember, a trophy and award is not a commodity. It's not a product. It's love, it's appreciation, applaud, recognition, motivation. Everything is in that. What you receive on a stage,
it's the best memory you can have.
that's the best memory. So when you produce it, put your love into it, put your concern into it, put your thinking into it, put your affection into it, and make it a fine product, a fine souvenir, so that somebody will keep it forever. It will be passed down the generation.
Unforgettable.
Today, if you ask me what I'm doing today, I want to change again the gift-giving habit. Like, for example, on my birthday, there'll be so many friends coming home. They'll all bring scotch, wine, and I have only one specific type of scotch that I like, and other than that, I'm not a kind of connoisseur on beverages. Now what do? There will be some scotch coming there, and next birthday I'll wrap it up and make it look like, I'll take it out of my cupboard, wrap it up, and I bring it to that guy. Now if he doesn't drink it, it goes to another guy. Now whatever, this goes right round, and we have forgotten. And even if it is something that he consumes, tomorrow he's forgotten. I want to change that gift-giving habit. Now,
the next step,
we are developing series of products so that if it is your birthday, they will come to us and say, okay, put your name on that. At Shan, there's a Shan, remembering your birthday date, and give it to you. And I bet you'll never give it to anybody because your name is on that.
True.
And after you, it will be passed down to your children, and they say, that's my father's gift. Some friend of his has given that to him because my name is behind that.
And we will keep it.
Yeah, so that you will keep it and you will remember me and I will remember you. It's unlike giving a shirt or a bottle of liquor or perfume or something like that. I want to change that culture. It's very difficult. The difficult is more than anything else to change the mindset of my own people. To that shift is so difficult. My own people, but I'm changing them slowly. Together, I'm making them believe that change this habit, gift-giving habit. Make it something that is not the price, like it says, you forget the price, but the value remains. So forget the price, put the value into it. So that's what I'm trying to do these days, and it's working well. It's working well.
It's changing convention.
Yes.
And the thought process that we have been grown up with, pretty much.
It's difficult.
History, traditions, all that.
It's difficult, but we get good response. Now we are also going digital now, so that anybody from home can just order anything and it's delivered. And they can even do certain changes online. So we have a different team of people who are working on that, and they are delivered. See, what is nicer than you seeing your name on a gift which is personalized to you? It's yours. It's not a regular gift that you receive with no name, but here your name is there, your initials is there, so it's yours. So the price is forgotten, the value stays.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So the time spent with you has been remarkable.
Thank you.
And your gift and habit has changed the entire nation about the way we look at things. And Kent grows in strength and stature. And Gamini Saparamdu has taken that valuable, wonderful step to change again.
Thank you.
On that note.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure indeed,
Thank
sir.
you indeed. Thanks.
On Game Changers, there you go, a trailblazer of his own making about simple things and the way you take that very important next step. Gamini Saparamdu, a challenger, certainly. A Sri Lankan on the way out.